One of the things that I've published quite a lot of things, but this is one of the most important things that I see in terms of what my contribution to the field is, writing a book that I wrote also with patients, because I think the experience of patient, whatever I say and write is not the same like a patient. So there was a patient with chronic itch with atopic eczema, psoriasis, and CTCL, and they shared their story. I love the iPad version. There's a lot of images there, and it's interactive, but this empowered a lot of my patients who came to see me and said that this book changed their life, because a lot of times we ourselves as a profession don't address the patient needs. We give them creams and more creams and more creams, and they want to also get that compassion. And I'm aware that in these busy clinics we don't have the time, but I think it's important to know and to refer them to other folks that deal with some of the emotional and cognitive aspects. And one of the other aspects of treating itch, and this is something we adopted from our European colleagues and brought a German psychologist who worked with us, and we developed the first eczema school that is a coping type of educational program for parents and patients. Was free of charge, and the focus was treating itch. There was a psychologist, a nurse practitioner, and a dermatologist plus a psychologist, and it's open discussion. It's very structured in the way it's built, but the patients and the families loved it, and it helped a lot the patients to reduce their suffering. So I think that I have a message today of hope, is that there are several drugs in the pipeline that are developed for the chronic itch. This is just a short list of the major targets and where I think that the ones that will end up in the market soon. But in reality, it's not going to be a quick fix for all types of itch. So I think it's important to understand, to manage the complexities, challenges, and cost of chronic itch requires really a comprehensive approach that includes not just oral and topical, but also non-pharmacological approaches. So I have to mention that this is a lot of work of a lot of fellows and grad students. Some of these fellows became dermatologists, and I directed an international fellowship, so I got from a lot of fellows from all over the world, and it was quite exciting because now I have collaborations with colleagues around the world. I have a lot of collaborations from all the continents, and it makes the studies look a lot better. And clearly I got support from NIH, the National Eczema Association, for those young folks who just finished residency. And this is a very supportive organization that wants young dermatologists to be involved in research. Leo Foundation supported my genetic, as well as GSK, Stiefel, and Pfizer, and I got the $1 million grant from Jean Van Scott and Roy Yu, who developed the alpha hydroxy acid, but they love the topic of itch. And this is my team, and we're still scratching for an explanation. There's a lot to kind of examine. I don't know if it doesn't work. I thought that it should. Anyway, thank you, and if there are any questions, I'd be happy to address.
I think we have time for one question. Any question? Don't be shy.
Nobody else is asking. You didn't mention, I don't know whether you think it's useful, topical, Zonalon, topical doxepin?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. And I, as a contact dermatitis expert, that drug causes too much allergic contact dermatitis. I personally do not think that it has a significant role as an antipruritic, so I don't use it. The oral doxepin, I use for chronic urticaria, but I don't see difference with hydroxyzin, so I don't use it. That's the bottom line. So that's why I don't mention it.
I'm going to throw out one question.
Yeah.
Bleach baths, hypochlorous acid.
Okay, excellent.
Obviously, a lot of activity. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah. So Adam is the expert, and I have to admit that bleach baths are helpful for atopic eczema. So that's a different lecture that requires delving into the effect of bleach bath. As an antipruritic, I would say it would be more focused. I'm more interested in the effect of of hydrochloric acid with pH changes. pH, I didn't go into it. Acidic pH actually is good for the skin and has some antipruritic effect. And why? Because the atopic eczema have alkaline pH of their stratum corneum. And what happens is that we know that it activates the part 2. Part 2 is that receptor of non-histaminergic itch. So if you could acidify the skin, not acidify it to cause burning, but to make it less alkaline, there is an antipruritic effect. So that's where I see that. The bleach effect as an antipruritic per se, I'm not 100% sure that that's really working as an antipruritic. But if it is on the pH with hydrochloric acid, and that's the topical that you and I are familiar with, that could actually be more, in my opinion, effective than doing bleach baths as an antipruritic.
We got one more question.
Sure.
What about narrowband?
Excellent. Okay, so narrowband UVB, I didn't mention in this. I use it in a way, it has an effect, an apoptotic effect on the nerves. So there is an effect. A caveat about it is that initially it actually induces itch. So you have to tell the patient that the first 2-3 weeks you'll have more itch. Not everyone is agreeable to that. I would say that nowadays the problem is to get it approved, but for sure for psoriasis and atopic eczema, it's a valid option, but I have a feeling that this would be less important in the new era where we'll have more targeted treatments for itch. So.
Thank you very much.
Okay.